thanks for clicking. Welcome to another Knowledge Math production. Today we're going to be talking about mathematical operations, adding and subtracting signed numbers. Okay, just to have a review of that, make sure that you remember it. All right, so let's get started on adding and subtracting. So we have 4 mathematical operations that you have to know. Of course, you've known them for a very long time. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, and then here's what each one represents, of course. All of them you know, the symbols for each one. All right, all this stuff you already know. Okay, so let's take a look and let's start working with some signed numbers just to make sure that you remember how to do that, because you're not going to be working with a calculator. So we have to remember how to do all these things just in case you don't. Addition. Addition increases the value of one quantity by the value of another quantity. They're both called addends. Okay. Addition is the putting together of 2 groups of objects and finding how many in all, and the result is the sum. So here are the rules when you add signed numbers. If the signs are the same, you keep the numbers. Okay, you add the 2 absolute values and then use the sign. Okay, so basically you add the absolute value of each number and then keep the sign. Now remember, absolute value, all absolute value does is, if I do like the absolute value of 2, it doesn't do anything, right? It keeps it positive. But if I do the absolute value of -3, well, the absolute value of -3, that takes the negative away and makes it a +3, right? So the absolute value of a positive number is always positive, and absolute value of a negative number, it becomes positive. Okay? All right, so if I want to do 2 plus 4, it's 6. Okay? Also keep in mind, hey, there's no shame, especially if the numbers are small. If you want, you could make a number line to do this. Here's 0, here's 1, here's 2. You want to go 4 more, 3, 4, 5, you'd be at 6, right? So that's certainly a possibility. It's not wrong. You can do that. Of course, if the numbers get much larger, it becomes a lot more difficult to do it. All right. So 8 plus 9, if I did the absolute value of 8, I'd get 8. The absolute value of 9, I'd get 9. 8 plus 9 is 17. Okay, now the signs are the same. When the signs are the same and I add, all right, so you could do like the absolute value of each one. That's a 4. The absolute value of -8 is 8. And then you're going to add them. 4 plus 8 makes 12. And then you keep the sign. So that's going to be a -12. Okay, when the signs are the same, you add the numbers and keep the sign. So 6 plus 1 is 7, and I keep the sign, -7. All right, so there's my answer for those. Okay, when the signs are different, you take the absolute value of each number and subtract the bigger number from the smallest number, and then use the original sign of the bigger number. Okay. So when the numbers are different, so we have 4. This is really 4 plus -8. Okay, so what I do is, remember, I subtract the bigger number minus the smaller number. I don't worry about the sign. So I'm going to do 4 minus 8, or I'm sorry, 8 minus 4, which is 4, and then I take the sign of the higher number. So that's a -4. Okay? -4 plus 8. Same idea. The signs are different. Subtract the 2 numbers. 8 minus 4 is 4. Take the sign of the higher number. The higher number is the 8, and it's a positive. So my answer is +4. -10 plus 4. Okay, subtract the 2 numbers as if the signs aren't there. So 10 minus 4 would be 6. Now take the sign of the higher number. The higher number would be the 10 compared to 4, but it's negative, so the answer is -6. -4 plus 6. All right, I'm going to subtract these 2 numbers. 6 minus 4 gives me 2. And then I'm going to take the sign of the higher number between the 4 and the 6. The 6 is higher, so it's going to be a +2. And again, you can do all these on the number line. If you're at -4 and you go up 6 spaces, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, you'd be at 2. Okay, -4 plus 6. All right, and then -4 plus -7, well, the signs are the same. So since the signs are the same, I add the numbers. I get 11 and take the sign -11. All right. So again, the order in which I'm adding or subtracting adding these numbers doesn't matter. Okay. That's called the commutative property. It just says that, hey, if you have two numbers and you add them, 3 plus 5, that's the same thing as 5 plus 3. These two are the same. Doesn't matter which way you do it. All right. That's the commutative property of addition. It's important. Okay, subtraction. The opposite operation of addition. It decreases a number. Okay. So again, we're in the same boat. We have 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4, well, you've been doing that for a long time. That's 2. All right. But the rules still apply. The signs are different. So I subtract the two numbers. 6 minus 4 is 2, and take the sign of the higher number between 6 and the 4, which is 6. So it's a positive 2. 4 minus 6. So that's really 4 plus -6. 6 minus 4. If I subtract the numbers, that's 2. Take the sign of the higher number. That's -2. -3 and -5. So the signs are the same. They're both negatives. 3 and 5 make 8. And take the sign of the higher number, or take the sign of the numbers. They're both negative. -2 minus -7. Okay, two negatives. We remember that makes a positive, right? And now we have -2 plus 7. So the signs are different. So I'm going to subtract the numbers. 7 minus 2 is 5. And then I'm going to take the sign of the higher number between the 7 and the 2. So that's the 7. It's a positive. So my answer is +5. All right, so let's practice. So the idea here is that simply you're going to pause the video, try these 8 problems, and then you're going to skip and make sure that you got all 8 correct. Okay? So -7 plus -4. And if you got one wrong, you can go back and check and see what happened. -7 plus -4. The signs are the same, so I add the numbers and keep the sign. 4 plus -3. The signs are different. I subtract the numbers. 4 minus 3 is 1. And take the sign of the higher number between the 4 and the 3. So 4 is the higher number, so it's going to be +1. 4 plus 3, that's 7. Right? 16 plus -7. Okay. We have the signs are different. Take the sign of, subtract the two numbers. 16 minus 7 is 9. And take the sign of the higher number between the 16 and the 7. That's 16. It's a positive, so our answer is 9. -10 plus 5. Signs are different. So 10 minus 5 would be 5. Sign of the higher number is the 10. It's a negative, -5. -4 plus -3. Signs are the same. Add the numbers. 4 plus 3 makes 7, and keep the sign. -4 plus 3. Subtract the numbers. 4 minus 3 is 1. Take the sign of the higher number, which is the 4. So that's a negative. And then -3 plus 2. I'm going to subtract the numbers. 3 minus 2 is 1. Sign of the higher number is the 3. -1 again. There's my answers. All right. Try it again. Same idea. Make sure you can do it. 3 minus -4. Two negatives in a row make a positive. 3 plus 4 is 7. 4 minus 3, that's 1. You've done that a lot. 12 minus 3, you've done that a lot. That's 9. 12 minus -3. Two negatives in a row make a positive. 12 plus 3 is 15. -4 minus 3. The signs are the same. They're both negatives. So add the numbers together. 4 plus 3 makes 7, and keep the sign. -5 minus 8. Okay, the signs are the same. So I'm going to add these two numbers. It's 13. Keep the sign. -12 minus 3. Add these two numbers. That's 15. Keep the sign. -5 minus 8. Add these two numbers. So that's 13. Keep the sign. There's my answers. So hopefully you got them all right. Okay, if you didn't, check it over. Go back to the explanation. It should take you no time at all. All right. And we need to make sure that you can do this. It's really important because you're not going to be able to use a calculator on, when you take, for example, an Accuplace or an arithmetic test, there's no calculator permitted. All right. And that's it. And as always, thanks for clicking.